American Wireless Company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American Wireless Company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
If you have Medicaid and are new to Medicare, you may qualify to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan with a lot more benefits like dental, vision, and hearing, along with helpful support when you need it most. Now is the time to see if you qualify to enroll. It only takes a few minutes to find out if you're eligible. Our licensed sales agents are ready to help you understand your options. So this Medicare planning season, we can help you plan well. Learn more at humanaduals.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a dual-eligible special needs PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Jason Jones.
And still same trouble spot up north. If you are southbound I-15, heavy delays from Farmington down to Centerville. Had a disabled vehicle at Parrish Lane. That's what caused those delays there. It is off to the side of the road. And after you get past that, you're mostly clear now the rest of the way down into the Salt Lake Valley. Little leftover delay over on Legacy and this 215. Speaking of 215, if you are now westbound I-80 to go southbound on 215, there is a jackknife semi on that off-ramp there. So from westbound I-80 to southbound on 215. If you're northbound I-15, still going to run a little bit sluggish from Sandy all the way up to about the I-80 interchange. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today. The rain moves out later today with mostly sunny skies for tomorrow and a high of 52. We warm up to 60 for Wednesday, but the smog and haze then move in. More clouds on Thursday should push out the haze. Right now, though, it is raining in many spots of Salt Lake County, and it is 46 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Yeah, rainy days and Mondays always get us down. And today is a rainy day and a Monday, so...
we had to do the Carpenters.
Yeah, we had to do the Carpenters today. You know, we've been talking about this month, Holly, and October. I think Matt Johnson was in a couple of weeks ago. Even by about the middle of October, we had a record-setting October month.
Right.
We were approaching the record-setting month period ever, and I don't know where we are on that list, but it continues to rain. It rained a fair amount yesterday. It's raining pretty good today. I didn't experience much rain this morning, but once I got to work here, it started coming down pretty hard.
Yeah, we know it impacts travel, right? So it started raining right as I was getting into downtown Salt Lake, so I didn't see a lot of the delays. But Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center, she can tell us what's out there right now.
Yeah, the Davis County seemed to have the worst of it this morning, and they've had at least half a dozen crashes and stalled vehicles. And right now, if you're coming out of Davis County and trying to get near the airport, there is a jackknife semi that has blocked this entire ramp from westbound 80 to head southbound I-215. That's again on the West Belt area near the airport. But yeah, as soon as we get some wet road conditions, if a few people are just driving a bit too fast for the conditions, you start hydroplaning and bad things happen.
Yeah, it looks like that semi-truck is still down, Heather. And watching the cameras, like you say, Davis County's hit especially hard. Glover Lane looks like it's almost a standstill. It's actually opened up a little bit since we started, but that semi-truck's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it's not just I-15 and your freeways. Anybody trying to get onto a freeway where you have a lot of the congestion or some of the stop traffic, those ramps are going to be backed up onto city streets. Anywhere we have like US 89, I-15, Legacy Parkway, where that all joins up, all three of those are like kind of at a standstill at the moment as everybody's trying to figure their way around.
Well, thanks for that information, Heather. That's Heather Kelly with the KSL Traffic Center. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson tells us what we can expect for the rest of the day.
We'll keep those showers through mid-morning. I think by lunch hour, things should be clearing out generally. Temperature of only 45 with a northwest breeze. Afternoon highs topping right around 50 degrees. Overnight cold, dropping off to 32. That's our first forecast. That could call for temperatures hitting the freezing mark. 52 tomorrow afternoon, sunshine and a little bit hazy.
Yeah, it was a cold one this weekend. I Saturday was great. We went outside. We were able to do some things, but yesterday was a mess. In fact, I spent most of the day cleaning up my yard and my lawn furniture for winter.
Oh, was there wind or just that it's starting to change?
It was wet. We were wet all day yesterday.
Interesting. So down in Utah County where I was, we did not have a lot of rain, but a lot of clouds. We had a few sprinkles here and there. We've already had our first freeze, and I'm sure you have too up in Eden, but it sounds like Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County will be looking at the first freeze tonight.
Yeah, we saw snow levels, and I don't know, I wish we still had Matt around, but the snow levels seemed to hit about, it looked like maybe 8,000 feet in the Weber County. I've seen some snow levels here in Salt Lake County at the ski resorts, Brighton and out to the Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. Look like they've received some snow. I haven't seen much about what happened at Park City, but as it's cold, and Matt indicated temperatures down into the 30s. When it gets to that cold with this rain, you could expect maybe a little snow.
I know. You know, Heather said sometimes when it starts raining, people forget how to drive safely. Right. That happens when it snows too. I remember it's like, hey, everybody, like, it's not normal freeway speeds.
Right, and I think our 80-degree days are probably done for the year. We're probably
that's a certainty.
Working our way into.
We're in our last week of October, which is wild to me. And on Sunday, we're not there yet, but on Sunday we're gonna fall out. We're gonna fall back out of daylight saving time and go to standard time.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be a little bright, a little lighter in the morning, but darker a lot sooner in the evening.
Well, that's good for us because we're morning people.
That's
here.
right. That's right. We're coming in the dark.
And actually, the strongest storm to ever hit Jamaica is now on its way. It's a Category 5 hurricane, Hurricane Melissa. That's a famous Allman Brothers song, is taking aim on the Caribbean nation, shutting down all the airports. Here's ABC News correspondent Ike Elogi with more on his preparations.
This morning, Hurricane Melissa is now taking direct aim at Jamaica as a powerful Category 5, facing catastrophic and life-threatening flooding as this multi-day storm prepares to strike the island.
You're asked to evacuate now!
The storm already dumping torrential rains, winds at least 160 miles per hour, and triggering severe flooding and destruction across the Caribbean, killing 3 people in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. Now expected to ravage infrastructure in Jamaica like this catch basin in Kingston, which acts as a dam for excess runoff in the city.
This is the catch basin for the Hope River here in Kingston, and it's supposed to help mitigate flooding throughout the city. But with that wall of water from Hurricane Melissa coming through, it could potentially overwhelm this entire structure.
It's a very dangerous hurricane that is approaching us, and we want to make sure that every Jamaican is safe.
Here in Kingston, anxiety is rising. Shelves already empty at supermarkets, with shoppers grabbing bottled water, canned goods, and flashlights as families prepare for power outages and sheltering in place.
We're trying to stock up on essentials.
With all major airports now closed on the island, many tourists suddenly finding themselves stuck, caught in the path.
I'm like, how am I going to get home?
We spoke with Donnelly Gordon, an American visiting from Atlanta who has been desperate to get off the island since Friday. Now we'll have to ride out the storm.
They're blocked out flights all week, like completely. Nothing leaving out of the country.
You know, we are spared those horrible situations here in Utah, but
We are.
I can't even imagine what it would be like because, I mean, you can't get out of the way. It's
Right.
a Category 5 hurricane. It's coming your way. Jamaica is right in its path. You can hunker down. You could. You're an island. You're not going to go too far.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
that's
right.
got to be just frightening for those people. And and imagine putting boards up on all your windows to make sure that your glass doesn't break.
Well, even then, so as I put together the Utah Policy newsletter late last night and this morning, I was watching it go from a Category 4 and then this morning to a Category 5. I'm telling you, headlines are apocalyptic right now.
Seriously.
So the Washington Post said we're witnessing satellite history in the Atlantic. Jamaica has never been hit by a Category 5. The highest one before was a Category 4, where it has sustained winds of 130 miles an hour, which is unbelievable, right? It's unimaginable. But a Category 5 has sustained winds of 160 miles an hour. They expect up to 40 inches of rain, which is also, I can't imagine, 40 inches of rain in one storm, and a storm surge of up to 12 feet. So it's very, very serious.
Yeah. Jamaica, it looks like Cuba. It looks like a couple of nations there could be in its path. It depends on how far it goes. But yeah, it's looking pretty frightening. Yeah, 20 to 40 inch swells. I mean, that's
of rainfall, and then swells up to 12 feet. So so don't be by the coast, right? And it's, again, it's one of the things where you just say, wow, Utah, sometimes we'll see residual rain if we have a Pacific hurricane, but this is a monster storm. So people in Jamaica, if you're there, you're not going anywhere, so stay safe.
And 20 inches of rain is an annual rainfall
For
in
here,
Utah,
us, right? Yeah. Okay, look. Not to pivot away from storms and weather, but Utah Republicans are changing course in their push to repeal Prop 4. So, promoters of an indirect initiative that created Prop 4 have withdrawn the request and refiled a direct initiative request that will go to voters in 2026. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey, girl. I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager. Hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
For over 75 years, Duke's Jewelers has been part of Utah Valley's story. Founded in 1948 by J. Melvin Duke, the Duke family has been helping yours celebrate life's biggest moments, generation after generation. Duke's is more than just a jewelry store. They're craftsmen. From repairing a treasured family heirloom to designing the custom engagement ring of your dreams, their expertise is trusted because it's been earned through decades of care, skill, and tradition. When you walk through the doors of Duke's Jewelry, you're not just a customer, you're part of the Dukes family. Because at Dukes, jewelry isn't just about sparkle. It's about legacy, memory, and love. Discover the difference of a family-owned jeweler where heritage meets craftsmanship. Dukes Jewelers, 220 South Main in Springville, or online at dukesjewelers.com. Dukes Jewelers, celebrating love, tradition, and community since 1948. Pacific Corp is hosting a virtual public open house meeting to discuss a proposed 45-mile transmission line in southern Utah Valley that will span from Spanish Fork to Eagle Mountain. The meeting will take place on November 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. The proposed transmission line will improve system reliability for customers, meeting increasing electrical demand in the region, and connect additional energy resources. Get details and learn more at pacificorp.com/Spanish Fork.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
And expanded Inside Sources.
I feel like it's a story that just keeps going on, and it's an interesting one for Holly and I because we're sort of political geeks. Maybe not for all Utahns, but Republicans are changing their course now in their push to repeal Proposition 4. And if you recall, Proposition 4 was a ballot initiative from 2018 designed to set up a independent redistricting commission, and boy, has the fallout from that been great, including what last week was a 2-day hearing, I think it was last week.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
In front of a judge, where she heard testimony from experts from both sides that would have said the proposed map of the Republicans is fair, it's within the four corners of her ruling and Prop 4, or that it's not, and she hasn't made a decision on that yet. But Republicans are not waiting for that. They've taken some other action to try to put some other things in place.
There's multiple moving parts, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's so confusing. So there's ongoing lawsuit in front of the Utah Supreme Court while the judge is looking at what boundaries could be impacted by this new map. And at the same time, there's this effort now to have an initiative and a referendum in front of voters. So let's just recap, because it is confusing. So on October 6th, there was a special session. The Utah legislature passed Map C, which it was called at the time, and sent that to the courts for the judge to evaluate. That's what the hearings were on Thursday and Friday.
Right.
The day after that, there were a group of Republicans, including the chair of the Utah Republican Party, AG Derek Brown, and others, who filed two things at the lieutenant governor's office. One was a referendum that would go to the ballot in 2026 that would allow voters to say they wanted to overturn the map that hasn't even been approved yet, but that in 2026 they're going to vote to overturn that map potentially. And the other one that they filed on October 7th was one that was called an indirect initiative, which would have required half the numbers of signatures. It would only require about 70,000 verified signatures, and it would go directly to the Utah legislature in January 2026, who could then directly repeal Proposition 4 that was passed by citizens in 2018. Now, on Friday, the people behind the indirect initiative went back to the lieutenant governor's office, withdrew their application for that indirect initiative, and have now filed a new one that's a direct initiative. They have to get 140,000 verified signatures, and then that will be on the ballot in 2026.
So do we know why the indirect initiative angle didn't work? Because to me, it seemed odd, and it seemed to be a little bit contrary to the law, but I don't know that area of law as well as I should. I mean, obviously you go the direct initiative. That's how we got here in the first place.
Right.
Let the voters decide.
Right. So there were two sides of the argument. So the plaintiffs, who are the ones who have brought the lawsuit after the Utah legislature, in their view, ignored Proposition 4 in 2021, what they said is it was a clear violation of Utah's Constitution. That Utah's Constitution allows citizens to weigh in, and you can't have the legislature just overturn something that the citizens have voted for in that way. But the Republicans who filed it said it is a factor of the very tight timeline that has been imposed by the judge, and that they didn't have an opportunity to be able to meet that timeline, and they felt like it was confusing, and they pointed to the lieutenant governor, who called it chaotic and confusing, and said that at this point their hand had been forced, and so they're going to do this direct initiative. Yeah, that's right.
So Holly, the Prop 4 is passed in 2018.
Right.
The direct initiative, if it gets on the ballot, would be to repeal that.
Yes.
Basically.
To overturn it. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so what's interesting in the timeline, I was asked earlier on the morning show what the deadline is for Republicans to gather those signatures. They have until April 15th. And so that's a lot longer ramp than the previous one. The indirect initiative would have given them until November 15th, which is a very, very tight timeline, right? And so this gives them more time. So that's one thing. But just imagine this. So citizens passed this Proposition 4, which allows for an independent redistricting committee, creates an independent redistricting committee, and puts in guidelines that even if the Utah legislature doesn't adopt the maps from the independent redistricting committee, they still have to abide by these guidelines, including keeping communities together and not looking at partisan data on how you make the splits.
Okay, so talk about the referendum. Is it still moving forward? Yeah. And if so, what is it, and how is it different than the initiative?
They're still running a referendum. The referendum is to repeal the implementation of Map C. And they're assuming that the judge will go ahead and approve Map C, which is what they've been discussing in front of Judge Gibson right now. And so, again, it's very interesting because it's prospectively repealing something that's not even in place yet. But what they're trying, I think if you look at it, what they're trying to do is completely get rid of Proposition 4. I think on its face that is clear. I think the Utah legislature, at least the Republicans in the Utah legislature, have been clear that they don't think Proposition 4 should have passed.
And so the initiative and the referendum are two shots at the same thing.
They're two shots at the same thing. They will be on the same ballot in 2026, assuming they get the required number of signatures and they can all be verified. It will be on the same ballot in 2026 as new congressional lines, because we're assuming that there will be new congressional lines for the 2026 election. If everything passed and they undo the map and they undo Proposition 4, then in 2028, we'll go back to the lines as they exist right now.
So and I don't mean to sound facetious, but the Republicans are trying to repeal their own map. Map C.
Yeah,
They're
that's
trying
right.
to say we had to do this.
That's right.
It was
That's
under
exactly
duress.
right. Yep.
It wasn't really something we wanted, but we did what we needed to do.
Yep.
But by the way, we don't like it, and
Yeah.
we still don't think we should have to do this.
Yes, that's exactly right. And they're asking the citizens of Utah to be able to weigh in 2026. An interesting twist to this is there was a new study just released this weekend. In fact, I saw it late last night. This is done by the Deseret News and the Hinckley Institute of Politics specifically about this issue. And so one of the questions was, how closely have you been following this redistricting battle? Guess how many people who are not news maybe nerds like us are following this issue closely?
About half.
It's 2/3 are not following the issue closely.
Ouch. Okay.
They're not following the issue closely. But they also asked if Proposition 4 were on the ballot today and it sets up this independent redistricting committee with these parameters, would you vote for it? And I think it was 44% of Utah voters said they would, which is less than a majority. However, it's still a plurality. It was the top vote getter still.
So it passed in 2018 by 50.3%.
That's right.
So 44% would seem to show some waning of that support, but the opposition would have been 49%, and now there's like something like 20%.
And remember, it's not a binary choice, at least in this survey. It wasn't a do you approve it or not. Some of it was I don't know. That was the next highest. 36% say I don't know about this issue. So I promise by 2026 you will know about this issue.
So that would seem to imply that at least a plurality of voters still support what we're doing here, even though some Republicans might think, well, now they're only down to 44% support of this.
Look, it's just I feel like it is confusing, and one of the things that happens with confusion is a lot of people they end up maintaining the status quo because it becomes so confusing. But I think the bottom line is what voters will see in 2026 is we will have redrawn congressional lines for next year's election for Congress. And then after that, all bets are off because it could be back to today's. I don't know what's going to happen.
And maybe the 2026 map is map C. Who knows? I mean,
maybe
the judge will have to do that, or
that's
else
right.
She might say no. Another one's going to.
She might say that you did not, Utah legislature, you did not meet the requirements that were imposed by Proposition 4 to not look at partisan data or to keep communities together. I don't know yet what she's going to decide, but yeah, it could be map C or it could be a different one.
Yeah. Well, today is a important day. It's day 27 of the government shutdown. The reason I know that is because it's the 27th.
That's right.
So it's easy to track. House members were told to stay home. Senate GOP the Senate weighs their nuclear option. We'll talk about what that means. The Trump administration has said there will be no federal food aid going out November 1st as scheduled. So there's a lot of moving parts here as we get to what will soon be the fourth week, actually entering the fifth week of the government shutdown. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, Senator Mike Lee has introduced a bill that would prevent private citizens from suing over the Clean Air Act. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Senator Lee says his Fair Air Enforcement Act will, quote, protect Americans from lawfare by climate extremists, saying these extremists are weaponizing the judicial system against Americans and small businesses. KSL.com reports under his act, only state governments would be able to bring lawsuits up over the Clean Air Act.
The National Environmental Law Centers say allowing citizens to sue is a supplement to keep regulators honest. A man running for Layton mayor is facing several misdemeanor charges, which would be a conflict of interest if he wins the election. The charges against Trevor Faust are in connection to a 911 call his wife made in July about a domestic dispute in the presence of children. A document sent to the Salt Lake Tribune shows Faust's wife is now asking to withdraw her original statement. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A near tragedy was averted Sunday in a New York City park. Retired police officer Paul Pinsdorf jumping into the East River to help save a mother who authorities say was trying to drown herself and her 5-month-old baby.
I saw the woman in the water with her baby, and I was like, we called 911. I went in the water, and she resisted me. Her mind was, lost.
Despite a language barrier, authorities say the 30-year-old woman and the baby were both saved and are now hospitalized. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 0.5%, 248 points to 47,455. Coming up, the rain's been affecting the drive all morning. KSL weather and traffic is next. KSL News Time 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Man, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
We've got a new crash northbound I-15. This is right at the top of the on-ramp from 1300 South in downtown Salt Lake City. And it is blocking the right lane of Main Flow Freeway. So everyone's having to get out of the way. They're moving either to the right or the left. UHP just barely arrived on scene, so they may start blocking some extra lanes in that area. But traffic's already backed up to the 201 freeway split and the I-80 split that will take you into Sugar House. You also have a crash southbound I-15 in Bountiful over on the right shoulder at 400 North. That one did cause some slowdowns. That's eased up. And the transition ramp from westbound I-80 that takes you to the airport to then go southbound on the west side belt, that transition ramp is shut down due to a jackknife semi that they're trying to clear out of the way. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today's going to be the coldest of the next 7. It's only up from here. We're only going to see a high of 50 degrees today as the rain moves out later this morning. High in the next 7 of 65, but that's not till next Sunday. Right now, it is 46 degrees with scattered showers in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
It is going by so slowly. We are into day 27 of the government shutdown, and the Trump administration is now saying no federal food aid will go out on November 1st. And I have to wonder, Holly, if part of his logic there is to make it, I don't know, I don't want to state this wrong, make it as painful as possible so that people will come to the table. Make it so that people are calling their Congress members and saying, hey, you need to get something done. So maybe there's some method to that madness and just say, look, federal food aid's not going out November 1st. By the way, that's only 5 days away.
Yeah, that's right. It's Saturday this week. So Halloween is on Friday, and on Saturday, no federal food aid. So, it's interesting. You start to get more and more pressure, and you've been saying this all along, that both sides are to blame. It's interesting. Everybody has to poll and say, okay, well, who's to blame for the shutdown? And nationally, the polls are leaning more towards Republicans, but it's almost equally divided. In Utah, it's the reverse. People are blaming the Democrats more, but again, almost equally divided. But here's one of the issues, right, is they're just not moving. And I think it's interesting that some people are starting to question whether Congress has lost their ability to compromise.
Yeah. And like you say, when we talk about how long this has gone on and it's not getting any better, here's ABC political analyst Steve Roberts, who joined Utah's Morning Show to discuss just exactly what you just mentioned.
To make a deal in a legislative situation, both sides have to respect the other. Both sides have to give a little. Both sides have to compromise. That any compromise means that no one gets everything they want, but everybody gets something that they want. That spirit of compromise, that spirit of trust, that spirit of legislative comedy, that's gone. And it's now jihad up there. It's holy war. It's win or lose. But one of the reasons why the lines are so hardened is that sense of trust in the other side to live up to their bargains and to bargain honestly. That's almost entirely evaporated.
And that's sad, right? That is sad. The entire nation was built on compromise. If you look to the U.S. Constitution, that was they did it behind closed doors, but those negotiations were pretty fiery.
Yeah, and it seems like the issue, I mean, and we've probably said this too many times for our listeners, but the issue is really whether or not we should have a continuing resolution, and during that time, whether or not the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act will remain in place or not. And right now, the Democrats are saying leave them in place. Republicans are saying they were scheduled to expire anyway. Let's get the continuing resolution and let's work on it between now and what is now just a month away. And neither side's willing to compromise. There has to be a compromise in those two arenas. I mean, there's got to be something that can be done. And the House has already kicked the can down the road. They've passed it. They're done.
Well, and they were told by Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, stay in your district another week, right? He's saying he's not calling them back, and that also means that he's not swearing in the Arizona rep who was elected now more than a month ago. And we know that she is the last signature needed to force the vote on releasing the Epstein files.
So, I mean, it's just like, cutting off your nose to spite your face. But, I mean, so Congress just doesn't meet at all. The House just doesn't meet at all. I think you told me that they've met 12 out of the last 90-some days.
I think it was 13 times out of the last 95 days, something like that. And they're still, of course, the representatives, are getting their salary and their benefits, but their people aren't even receiving that, right? So the people who work for them.
So let's talk about the next phase. And so, I mean, there's probably going to be another vote in the Senate, maybe today, who knows? I haven't heard yet where that's going. And I don't know whether the numbers are going to change, but is there consideration, do you think, Holly, for what we've called the nuclear option, which is I think that you stand down and you say, look, for this particular issue, we're not going to require the normal 60%. 50 plus 1 will do it. If I understand
That's right.
Option.
That is what they mean when they talk about the nuclear option. So I'll just point out that 2 weeks ago, so we're only, a couple of weeks into the shutdown, the head of the Senate, Senator Thune, said, we're not going to talk about the nuclear option. But here we are 2 weeks later, and you even have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been kind of poking at the Republicans for the whole month, really. And she's saying, you've got to do it. Like, you've got to break the impasse. The problem that happens when you do that, right, is that then the other side gets permission. And so I'm not saying Republicans are right or wrong to talk about invoking the nuclear option, but it's one of the reasons they're hesitant to, because they know as soon as they're not in power that the Democrats will just point to what Republicans have done and say, well, they've already invoked the nuclear option, and so we can do it too.
But you could say, as a Republican, we waited 4 weeks. I mean, It's not like we came right out of the chute with it, so I'm not sure that it sets a bad precedent. And I'm one of those, when you blame Republicans or Democrats, I'm one of those all of the above voters. Like, both sides just need to come to the table and figure something out. And the difference between what each side want is significant if you're concerned about your health care. I understand that. I don't mean to downplay it. But it also allows for some continued negotiations if we can get the government running again and get it up for under either scenario.
Even remember the 7-week continuing resolution. We're almost 5 weeks into it, and so the government is not going to be funded. It's even if they pass it today, you're in the same spot of trying to figure out how are we going to fund it into next year, right? And we have been the country has been funded by continuing resolution for a long time. There is a budget process, but our representatives and senators cannot seem to get on board with going through the regular budget process. And so here we are with a government shutdown. Now we're almost the second longest of any, whether it's partial or full, but definitely the longest of a full shutdown.
Yeah, and November 1st seems to be looming pretty large. There was the date that we had in October where the military funds would have been cut off. We thought that was significant, but apparently President Trump found some alternative source of funding.
He found $130 million, which, to put it in context, doesn't even really cover one day, as I understand it. Yeah. So I mean, it's to us normal people, $130 million is a lot of money, but for this overall perspective, it's not that much money.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in favor of the nuclear option. I'm in favor of somebody getting something done.
I think we're seeing a lot of people who are starting to say that. So Democrat John Fetterman said, look, I'm in favor of that. Senator Susan Collins, who's a Republican, saying, generally, I want to keep the filibuster, but at this point, we have to consider all options.
Yeah.
All right, so those impacts are being felt at home here in Utah. We're going to talk about local communities that are stepping up to help federal workers, SNAP recipients, and other people feeling the economic pinch. That's coming up next, and we're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21. You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. Default terms at mintmobile.com.
At Bank of America, we asked our people, how do you take ownership of your career?
I'm able to grow my way by putting the priorities that I have for my career first.
I thrive on being a leader who's behind the team, not in front of the team.
Every few years, I'm being re-energized because I get to do something different and learn something new.
See how our teammates are growing in their careers at bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, friends. Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
I'll tell you, Holly, working with you and working on this show for the last several months puts you so much more in tune with what's going on with things like the government shutdown. I mean, when you're practicing law and you're focused on your clients, you that's what you do. But when you're talking about government shutdown and people being out of resources, I mean, my wife and I did something yesterday that we've never done before. We went and bought $200 worth of food. And just to take to the local food bank. I mean, just a thought, we need to do something. But it's not something I would have even thought about before, just being in touch with things more now. But we just thought, you know, and after November 1st, of course, SNAP benefits may be cut off to people. It's going to be even worse. And I don't even know that $200 worth of food is going to go very far. But
look, I'll say yay, and that's awesome and good for you. I'm proud of you for doing that. That's awesome. It's one of the things that... You know, what dismays me, I guess, is seeing the number of people who are blaming people on SNAP and people who are maybe furloughed as federal workers and saying somehow, you know, it's their fault or they should plan better. let's not do that, people.
Yeah.
One of the pieces of data that I was looking up last week is that in Utah, 58% of Utahns live paycheck to paycheck. And that means if you're missing a full paycheck, you're starting to feel the pinch in a big way. And if you miss 2 paychecks, can be really damaging. And then 63% don't have a rainy day fund, meaning, and they defined rainy day as, do you have enough to pay expenses for a couple of months, right? Most people do not have that much money in reserve. And so there was some confusion over whether people who do receive SNAP benefits, if they would be able to use their card after November 1st, if they still have money on it. The answer is yes. The Utah Department of Workforce Services had previously said you have to use it up this week or you won't be able to access the funds. Now they're saying the federal government has told them if there is remaining balance on those EBT cards that they can use them after November 1st, but there will be no additional payment if the shutdown doesn't end before then.
So don't feel like you need to hurry and use it up before November 1st thinking that it's going to lapse or expire by then. If you've got something remaining on your, what did you call it, EBP?
EBT, yeah. Which is basically the card that you're given for your SNAP account. But what's interesting, too, though, is I would say right now, I don't know that I would trust information coming out of the federal government. Maybe if everybody is not involved in making sure that those systems are up and running. Right now, they're saying that they will be up and running, but I don't know for sure. But that's, people are very worried, and I'm seeing a lot of that. And of course, you're seeing the food banks. We talked last week to Jeanette Bott, who's the executive director of the Utah Food Bank, and she said, remember, you can donate 3 things: time. So you can volunteer, money, or resources.
Right.
So the
or
food or the
right.
diapers or
right.
That's right, because they're helping. And it's not just SNAP recipients, it's not just federal workers. I think there are a lot of people that are kind of feeling the pinch.
And what will the number of people that could be affected by this, Holly, includes 40 million people who rely on SNAP benefits. That they'll run out of that on Saturday, like
Yep.
you say, November 1st. The Trump administration has said they're probably not going to tap into any emergency funds to keep it going. They're going to let it lapse. Again, I think that there's a reason for that, is to put as much pressure on people, to put
Yep.
pressure on their Congress members to get something done. So
And
I don't think it's all.
We talked with Speaker Mike Schultz, Utah House Speaker Mike Schultz, on whether he would be able, if the state of Utah would be able to cover that, and he said no.
Yeah.
It's $31 million a month, and the state can't cover that.
Yeah.
So I saw this story, and this is a Salt Lake Tribune story, and this is how one Utah community is supporting the park rangers who've been furloughed. So we have a lot of federal employees in our state, and over 100 of them down towards Zion National Park. They had a community dinner where people came together to show their support, and I thought it was really just a lovely story. So there is a nonprofit organization called the Zion Forever Project, and they got together to throw this appreciation dinner for Utah park rangers that are not working right now.
And that's something that should be done. I absolutely appreciate that. That makes so much sense. Again, though, it can only go so far, and you can only help so many people. And like you say, $31 million a month for SNAP benefits,
Yep.
for that. And I know that these aren't workers who are on SNAP benefits, but that gives you
they
some
might
idea.
be.
Yeah, they may be applying for that, although they're not. There's no money in the till.
Right.
And there's so much more besides just SNAP. Head Start,
Yeah.
WIC, other things will be cut off on November 1st as well. We talked last week about the WIC program
Right.
and the fact that could be cut off too. So we're talking about people who will not have resources to buy food starting Saturday.
Yeah. And remember when we talked about the air traffic controllers earlier on the show, not today, but even earlier in the shutdown, they were collecting food and diapers, but they're also collecting gas cards for the workers who still have to show up for work, but they're not receiving paychecks, so that they need gas to transfer back and forth. Right. I mean, these are people who are really being impacted by decisions from Washington, D.C.
And our food banks and our pantries are getting dangerously low. I think somebody that we interviewed last week thought that they could run out of food
by Tuesday, which is tomorrow.
I mean, which is just tragic.
So again, those are things that have real impacts, I think one of the issues to remember is it doesn't necessarily have to be a government shutdown for people to realize that there is need in our communities. I've worked in the nonprofit space quite a bit, and typically the best fundraising and the most donations come during the holiday season, right? So you think about, we're going to donate, to the food bank at Thanksgiving time and at Christmas time, and we do the Toys for Tots.
Goodwill, right.
Right, all of those things. And those are great, and they're needed. And this year they're needed as much as, or more than any other year. But nonprofits have needs year round. And we've talked on this show since we started in June. We've been having an ongoing conversation about how the need at Utah food banks has been increasing. We've got the cost of living that's high in Utah. We have inflation that has affected it. We've got grocery prices that are up. And so we have this need that's year round. Utah's really good at stepping up, and this is an opportunity to do that. But I hope we remember that it's not just November and December where we need to be generous with our neighbors.
We talked about the nuclear option, and I guess your point was don't play that card because it may be played against you later on.
I didn't say that was my opinion. I said that's their argument.
Right, that was the argument against it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It just seems like it makes sense at this point.
When
you talk about 30 million people, they may be cut off food aid in 5 days.
Yeah, and I think it's 7 million federal workers, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I think maybe we might see progress this week. I don't know. And, it's interesting. Somebody asked us last week, well, why did that one senator filibuster on the floor for
22 hours.
20, whatever it was,
right.
To set a new record. And one of the reasons is because he was not part of the backdoor conversations about how do we get this thing moving, right? How do we move past this? And I did really appreciate the conversation of has DC lost the ability to compromise? What does this look like going forward, right? Can you drag this on through the rest of the year? And if so, what does that look like? I mean, this is serious, and it has real impacts.
Right, and this is now the second longest government shutdown, but the longest full shutdown. Is that right?
Yeah, the longest full shutdown was only, I'll say only in air quotes, only 16 days, and we're now at day 27. So the longest partial shutdown was 35 days, and that was under the first Trump administration.
All right, we've hammered that, and I think that the legislature needs to get their act together. I mean,
the federal guys,
we can only say and do so much. The state would be willing to step up to the plate if they could, but that's just a nut that you just can't crack every month. $31 million. And I don't know.
There are some people who say they could if they really wanted to, but that would be tapping into the rainy day fund. It would take a special session. It would take a vote by the legislature, signature by the governor, and probably not being seriously considered at this point.
Right. So we are now, a week and a couple days, a week and a day from municipal elections.
Yeah.
There's an interesting one in Layton going on where the mayoral candidate there has actually been charged in court with making threats. What could this mean for the office if these charges aren't dropped? We'll talk about that and the charges and the mayor when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, BYU now tied for 10th in the latest AP Top 25 football rankings. This is the second year in a row the Cougars have started the season 8-0. And it took a big second-half comeback at Iowa State to get that latest win.
Bear will go quarterback draw. Bear's got the 5. Bear's got the end zone! Bear Buckmeyer gives BYU the lead.
The call here on KSL News Radio. BYU has a bye this week, but next week they'll have arguably their biggest challenge of the season on the road at 13th-ranked Texas Tech. The Utah Mammoth continued their streak this weekend with a 7th straight win.
The loose puck momentarily. Cooley to the front, a shot and a goal! Dylan Gunther rips one high and tight, and it's 3-2 Utah!
Dylan Gunther scored the winning goal, and 11 of his last 17 have been game winners. Team plays Edmonton Oilers tomorrow, where they hope to keep get that 8th straight win. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Ukraine has fired back against Russia, targeting military and infrastructure. This after at least 4 people were killed in Russian strikes on Ukraine's capital.
We've seen heavy strikes in the capital, Kyiv, and so this was an attempt by Kyiv to try and strike back, targeting Russian energy infrastructure, as they have done before, military sites, again, which they have targeted. Again, what they would say is the key difference between what Russia has launched and what Ukraine has launched is that Ukraine doesn't deliberately target civilians.
ABC's Ian Pannell reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow's up 258 points. That's 0.5% to 47,463. Coming up, today's the coldest it's going to be for the next 7 days. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, Utah! Are you ready for the Utah Mammoth to hit the ice? From game-winning goals to behind-the-scenes moments, Mammoth Plus brings the action to you all season long. Whether you're at home, on the go, or in the stands, don't miss a single shift. Visit UtahMammothPlus.com and start streaming today. That's UtahMammothPlus.com. Every game, every goal, live on Mammoth Plus.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What are you looking at, Heather Kelly?
We're looking at a new crash in Parley's Canyon. This is eastbound I-80 as you make that climb to get to the summit of the canyon. Has been blocking a left lane and shoulder. They are trying to get it moved all the way over to the left shoulder. Traffic a bit slow through that area. A lot of it just due to the wet road conditions as rain continues to fall in the canyon. And then crews are cleaning up a crash northbound I-15 right near 1300 South in downtown Salt Lake. That has been moved over to the right shoulder. It had been in traffic and the delays there are gone. If you're in Davis County, we have yet another crash. This one is southbound I-15 right before Hillfield Road in Layton. And this car is facing sideways, but it's way over into the grass, almost against the barrier, so it's not really affecting traffic. Prep for winter, get a furnace inspection for a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A reminder from Enbridge Gas. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, mostly cloudy today with some more rain this morning. Highs only of 50. Set to clear out by this afternoon. It'll still be cold later. A freeze expected overnight. Some frosty grass tomorrow morning. Right now, it is 46 degrees and some scattered showers. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So municipal elections are 8 days away, and there's a candidate in Layton who is facing not only his opponent, but 4 misdemeanor charges. Trevor Lee Faust, 44-year-old Layton resident, who is scheduled, he's on the ballot to be Layton's mayor next week, but he's also facing 4 charges as a result of a domestic violence incident that occurred allegedly on July 9th of this year with his wife, and he's charged there in Layton City, which he would be overseeing, the very prosecutors that are charging him, with 4 Class B misdemeanors, threat of violence, and 3 charges of domestic violence in the presence of a child, meaning he must have had 3 children at the house at the time that this, whatever happened, was occurring.
So you're looking at the charges directly, right?
Right, yes.
I'm looking at a story from the Salt Lake Tribune about this, and one of the things that they're saying is his attorney, I guess, is saying that he's going to have the charges dismissed. He's pleaded not guilty. And that there's the wife is wanting to change her statement now.
Yeah, and in fact she has. So she filed, and I went into the court docket to see if I could find it, but I didn't, and so it must be sealed. Apparently she filed a signed, notarized statement to correct her previous statement, and she's now claiming that what she's saying is that children did not hear or witness any of the threatening behavior. So that would be 3 of the 4 counts. The domestic violence in the presence of the child.
So it would still leave 1.
Well, right. But then she says, but I also want the charge dismissed. So the thing about children in the presence, domestic violence in the presence of a child, is that they don't have to be physically present. The law is pretty loosey-goosey on that. For example, if you're having a fight upstairs and the kids are all asleep in the basement, you can be charged and you can be convicted of domestic violence in the presence of a child. So in the presence of means they shouldn't even have to experience that or be, present for the noise or something like that, because we know what that does to children. But then there's the threat of violence, the underlying domestic violence charge. You have to have an underlying charge before you can get to the domestic violence in the presence of a child. So those are the 4 counts that he's facing. Now, his attorney's saying it's going to be dismissed, but election is November 4th?
It's November 4th, a week from tomorrow.
His next court date is November 25th.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely this case will be dismissed before
the election,
which I think has got to make it hard for the voters to decide what to do. And of course, he's presumed innocent, and I appreciate that. But it's going to be awkward. And then, let's say he wins, then he is overseeing the very prosecutors who are prosecuting him. He would be their boss, so to speak.
So my assumption would be then, and you're the legal expert, wouldn't it change jurisdiction then? Wouldn't there be something if the case were to continue?
Yeah, what I think would happen is, and I believe Layton's in Davis County, and Roy's in Weber. I get them mixed up. But the Davis County Attorney's Office would almost certainly take over the case. Troy Rawlings and his people would probably look at it and say, okay, we'll take it over from Layton City, which is the current prosecutor. Right. So it's not a county case because it's a mid-level misdemeanor, and misdemeanors at that level can be prosecuted by local cities. In fact, they're usually done in the justice court, but they don't have one in that jurisdiction. So they're doing it in the district court. This is stuff we don't really need to know, but it talks about we could talk about how the court works. But the Davis County Attorney's Office could prosecute in either court, and so I would assume that if he's elected, to get away from any appearance of impropriety or conflict of interest, he would have an independent prosecuting agency handle the case. Otherwise, the city attorney is going to say, I can't prosecute this guy. He's going to set my budget, my salary.
So a couple of questions that I have. One is how often does it happen that victims or alleged victims of domestic violence want to change their reporting or their contacting of police? How often does that happen?
More than not. I mean,
Really?
it's fortunate or unfortunate, but it's not uncommon at all in domestic violence situations, Holly, when you see a situation come up, one spouse will call and say, hey, there's a problem going on, I need the police. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, they're back together saying, I don't want to pursue this case. This is not what I wanted. And some people just are mistaken as to what the police obligation is. They'll call the police, let's say my husband was really upset. I just wanted just a sort of a calming thing. Police don't come to calm.
Right.
They come to stop something, and that almost always requires, especially under the new Utah law, that they hook somebody up and take him or her out of the home. So domestic violence is looked at pretty strictly by police, and we know about the lethality assessment that they're required to do now too.
Yeah.
So, but again, to answer your question, it's more often than not that a domestic violence victim will come in and say, I don't want to pursue these charges.
Yeah.
And Utah has a law, and I'm not giving legal advice here, but we have what's called the marital privilege, which provides that a spouse cannot be compelled to testify against their spouse under certain circumstances, including this. So if she said, I am absolutely not going to testify, I don't want anything to do with your case.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell from this affidavit that she signed because she just wants the charges dismissed. Does that mean I'm also not going to participate? She may have the right to do that. So that puts the state in a difficult position because how do you prove a case if you don't have a witness?
It reminds me of the case in Tremont that where the 2 police officers were killed. Police had responded multiple times to domestic violence calls, including one that was, I think, at least could have been charged as a felony, but then she said she had changed her mind and she wasn't going to pursue those charges. But now that her husband has been arrested and is sitting in jail, she has said, I want to revisit that incident, and I will cooperate with you. It's one of the things I think that's when you have domestic violence issues and now you have an election, just so you know, elections are nonpartisan. And so in Layton, the top 2 vote getters go to the ballot. And this person came through in the number 2 position after the primary in August, and he's running against the incumbent mayor who came out on top. So we'll see how that all plays out, but it can be complicated.
So if the primary was after July 9th, and I have to assume it was, then this charge was pending then too, and the voters would probably have been aware of that.
I don't know if they were or not,
right,
but the primary was August 10th.
Good. Yeah, well, it would have been fairly recent after that. And again, he's presumed innocent. Who knows what happened? And if his wife says she wants to back out, it may be likely that the state or the city will end up dismissing the charges, but it's unlikely that that'll occur between now and Tuesday.
Right, since the next court date's not until the end of November.
So if you're a voter, you're looking at this going, well, I don't know. I mean,
right.
The presumption of innocence maintains, but again, you're
and his attorney says he is confident that all charges will be dismissed.
Right, yeah.
All right. Okay, the perfect heist. We've talked about that, but maybe it wasn't.
We all thought it was.
No, Ocean's 11, right? Only in the movies. So there have been arrests made in the jewel theft from the Louvre, and they used DNA. We talked about that they found left behind, I think, in a glove. That's next. Streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Attention RV owners or RV wannabe owners. It's the used RV blowout sale. RVs from all over the Intermountain West have been sent to the Layton Hills Mall for this RV liquidation event. Repos, buybacks, rental returns, and trade-ins. Blowout pricing. Every RV has been inspected, serviced, and ready to go. Free admission, free parking, dealers welcome. It's the used RV blowout sale that has been extended now through Saturday, 10 a.m. to dusk. Go to UtahRVEvent.com. Sponsored by Paris RV. Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
We are joining Mayor Erin Mendenhall right now, who's speaking as construction crews are breaking ground on the Power District. Listen in.
Investment. On the city side, our current year budget, our FY26 budget, invests more than $5.5 million in West Side priorities. We're doing capital improvements. We've expanded our UTA on-demand services. I know Carlton Christensen with UTA is here today. The West Side services with UTA are just for West Side residents, and they're incredibly used. We're so grateful for that partnership. We've also invested with that $5.5 million in enhanced security for our parks and the rehabilitation of the Fisher Mansion just south and next to the river there. If you drive by, you're going to see it wrapped in scaffolding and workers out there right now. We created in this budget the Clean City Team, which has already become a force for good, removing graffiti, cleaning trash, and restoring neglected spaces. One branch of that Clean City Team focuses solely on North Temple, improving cleanliness and making our response times faster in this neighborhood. Just across the street, right there, the city-supported Spark project is apartments that offer affordable and deeply affordable homes for families with on-site childcare and quality amenities. Because we know that thoughtful, family-focused development can strengthen an entire community and benefit the residents who have called this place home for decades. Now with the new Rocky Mountain Power Campus rising here beside it, this area is going to grow even stronger, bringing more jobs and innovation and renewable energy and renewed energy. This groundbreaking represents a new chapter for not only Rocky Mountain Power, but for our city. And that story of renewal has to go hand in hand with sustainability. I'd be really remiss actually not to acknowledge the great and now long-standing partnership between Rocky Mountain Power and the other Salt Lake City and the other 18 Utah communities. We're participating in the Utah Renewable Communities Project to bring 100% net renewable energy to all of our cities. Together, we're proving that it's possible through determined partnership to bring affordable, reliable, and clean energy to power our state's growing priorities. Our entire state needs those improvements, but few places more than the west side of Salt Lake City, which has disproportionately suffered from poor air quality in the past. Thank you to Rocky Mountain Power for your partnership and work on this effort. I also want to thank, again, the Miller family for your commitment to the west side that we share with you. And the Jordan River. I'm grateful for the river's thoughtful inclusion in this project in the district and the remediation work that is soon going to begin. And I want to thank our city team members who have been working behind the scenes as this project develops to make sure that it is possible and that it happens on time. The collaboration required for a project like this and the partnership is immense, and working together, fortunately though, is how we do things in Utah. So let's keep working together. We're so excited for this groundbreaking. There's only one thing missing. That's a Major League Baseball team. Thank you.
We've been listening to Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall as construction crews are breaking ground on the Power District in downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah, and the Power District is apparently a precursor to maybe getting Major League Baseball to Salt Lake City. It's something that we've been leaning toward for some time. Of course, we have an NBA team. We now have an NHL team. Is Major League Baseball next? Who knows? It would
I know
huge,
that's
it would be
a
huge
goal
step for Utah. It
yeah,
really would
I know
be.
That's a goal. All right, should we talk about a heist?
Yes, we should. This was one of the heists. This was the caper at the Louvre, which happened just about a week or so ago. The French National Police have now said they've got 2 people in custody. We're getting sort of interesting but not really thorough information about that. One of them was apparently trying to board a plane in Paris when he was arrested. Another one was trying to get to Africa. Here's ABC's Tom Soufi Burridge in Paris to tell us what we've learned so far.
Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport. That suspect, an Algerian French national, according to police, was allegedly trying to get out of the country to Algeria. And then also officers almost simultaneously swooping into Saint-Saint-Denis. It's a suburb of northern Paris, not far from Charles de Gaulle, and arresting another suspect there of Malian French nationality. And according to French police, that suspect was also planning to leave the country to Mali in West Africa.
So we have 1 or 2 people in custody. We don't know anything about the jewels, and we know that there were 4 people that jumped on motorcycles afterwards and got away. So we're halfway there, but maybe we don't know anything about if any of the. I mean, it was like $100 million worth of property that was stolen there.
That's right. And when you say we don't know anything about how to recover them. We know that they're still missing.
Right.
Right. That's one of the issues. So it's interesting to me. Remember that it was so fast, right? They used an external, they call it a furniture mover because you can't really take furniture up and down stairs in France, a lot of France, but especially in Paris. They're so tight and so narrow that they have to lift them from the outside. Look, just as a side note, I have to tell you, so the German company that makes those lifts, they did an advertisement over the weekend where they literally took a picture of their equipment outside the Louvre, and then they said, when speed matters or something like that. It was like, wow, okay, how to capitalize on the moment. But look, they were in and out in like 7 minutes. The information was that they thought it had to have been an inside job, at least some kind of help from somebody within the inside. They were looking at people who were security guards. When they stole the jewels, most of them in the form of jewelry, well, they all were in the form of jewelry, tiaras and necklaces, they did drop a couple of pieces because they really were they were in a hurry trying to get in and out, and they found 2 of them already.
Yeah, and one is an Algerian French national trying to get on a plane to Algeria. Another one was trying to leave the country for Mali in West Africa. We don't know much about the nationality of that person or why he or she was in France at the time. We do know that there was some property left behind. I think that this seemed to be pretty close to a perfect heist. Obviously not too perfect because it got caught, but 2 people are arrested, but there's always something left behind. There's always some evidence. I think it was a glove or something like that, and police were able to get some DNA off of that. DNA has just been such an incredible tool for law enforcement that we didn't have 30, 40 years ago. But yeah, they've traced at least one of the suspects through the DNA that was found at the scene.
So these 2 suspects that were arrested, they actually have a history of jewel thefts, and I'm looking. This is at an NBC article. So there are still 2 people on the run at least, but they did, remember, they escaped on scooters.
Right.
So they did leave gloves, a walkie-talkie, a vest, and a can of gasoline because they were going to try and set their lift on fire. It didn't work. And they were both men in their 30s who had prior convictions. They had previously targeted jewelry stores. They were both from Aubervilliers, which is a suburb in northeast Paris. And police had been tracking them, and when it became clear that one was headed to the airport, they went and arrested the 2 of them.
So the fact that the police have taken 2 into custody, they knew enough about their identity that they were able to track down their whereabouts, tells me that the police probably know all 4. And that it's a matter of just finding the other 2 at this point. When you're boarding a plane or doing, you have to use your identification.
That's right. Or I've watched crime shows, and maybe they can get these 2, the 2 that they've arrested, to turn on the other 2. I don't know. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah. Do you want to spend the rest of your life in prison, or do you want to do 10 years and tell us who your buddies are?
Tell us who your buddies are. I don't know how that works.
And of course, I think everybody wants to know about the jewels.
Right.
What is this last thing says? $102 million worth of stolen jewels.
Right.
And you would hope, I guess I would just almost pray that they hadn't started destroying those and tearing them apart, because it's not $102 million worth of gold and diamonds, probably.
Right.
Probably $10 million, $20 million. That's still a lot of money.
Right.
But their value is in their historical value.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is.
Yeah, that's right. And that's one of the things that, people are worried that they will be dismantled and destroyed as items of jewelry, but there is some hope that they can be recovered intact. And of course, they made 2 arrests, but they have not recovered the jewels.
The French police have to be very happy, because the public was probably going, okay, where are we? That they've got somebody in custody. And if you recall, there was another sort of quirky thing about this, and that is that there was security there at the museum.
Yeah.
But the security, when they hear the alarm go off, they know somebody's breaking in, what their job was isn't to stop the break-in or to catch the subjects. It's to get the people out of danger.
That's right.
Their
the visitors.
Duty is to the visitors.
Yep.
And so they're kind of watching this burglary go down, theft, whatever you want to call it, and literally doing almost nothing. Cameras picked it up, but they couldn't do much because they're trying to get the people out of the way.
But it's so quick, right? And there was even video evidence from people who were there as visitors, because it happened at 9:30 in the morning.
Right.
The museum was open
On a Sunday, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So one of the things I'm seeing, this is from an article yesterday in the New York Times. We talked about DNA. They have more than 150 forensic samples. So
that's pretty good.
They left a lot of DNA behind. Fingerprints, objects that the thieves left behind, power tools, gloves, motorcycle helmet, in addition to the other things we already mentioned.
And they were obviously trying to destroy most of those when they tried to burn down.
Right.
But I can't be that easy to start a metal truck on fire just by pouring some gas on it.
Yeah.
And that failed. And so then they're dropping their gloves, they're dropping this and that. I think they actually dropped a crown at one point.
They've left it behind, right, because they weren't able to keep it.
So it was a well-executed robbery, but it was a poorly executed escape afterwards, and it just didn't work out too well.
It's interesting to me, and I don't have an answer for this. It would be interesting to know how many museum thefts go unsolved. I know there are some that are still unsolved.
Right.
Right. But it seems like most of the time people are found and caught relatively quickly.
Right. And another thing about museum thefts that we have talked about a little bit is the unique nature of the property that's stolen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you put on KSL.
Right.
It's not something that you can sell and put out, or sell it to some local pawn shop. I mean,
maybe you pretend it's just, costume jewelry.
These are so distinctive.
They look authentic. Hey.
Right. The only thing you can do to sell it is to destroy it.
Or private investors, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. You get the private investors who say, I want that in my collection.
Yeah, I want to sit on it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I'll sell it back to the French government or
something like that. Yeah, maybe my grandchildren will or something. Yeah.
No, I mean, some of us, I guess I shouldn't say us, we're almost rooting for the thieves because it was sort of a cool thing. But then you think about the historical value and you think, no, this was awful.
Those are movies like Ocean's 11 that
11,
spoil us and say, oh, hey, we should cheer this.
Yeah,
no, we should not cheer this on.
It's good that they were caught. And there were some other people caught last week.
Oh, yes, they were.
NBA players, mobsters. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Millions of dollars in rigged bets, and how a nationwide gambling sting is shaking pro basketball and revealing the cost of American gambling addiction. Opinion editor for the Deseret News, Jay Evenson, will join us in studio next.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: Salt Lake City says the west side is still divided by rail lines and I-15, and they're working on a plan to reconnect neighborhoods cut off for decades. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera reports.
The city says tens of thousands of Westside residents cross those barriers every day, often getting stopped by trains or forced into long detours just to get to work, school, or the store. A new West-East Connections study is collecting data and community input to figure out where new crossings, safer sidewalks, and better transit could make the biggest difference. The city will start testing possible solutions next year, then decide which projects get built first and how to fund them.
The city says public input will continue throughout the process. A Box Elder County man is raising money to pay for police officers and their families to go to Washington, D.C. for National Police Week. Darren Jex is creating laser-etched drink coasters that feature the official memorial badge of fallen officers Lee Sorensen and Eric Estrada. The goal is to raise $100,000 between now and May. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: tens of millions of Americans could see their food assistance run out this weekend, as food banks already stretched to the limit may even see longer lines. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio.
More than 40 million people, that's roughly 1 in every 8 Americans, are bracing to see their food assistance run out later this week, creating a food crisis some experts say could be the worst since the Great Depression, all because of the government shutdown. The U.S. Agriculture Department, which administers the SNAP or Food Snap program, announcing, quote, the well has run dry.
Workers who've been furloughed during the shutdown are now also looking to food banks for assistance. Your money at this moment: the Dow up 0.5%, 235 points to 47,442. Coming up, the rain's supposed to move out by the end of today, and then it shouldn't come back for at least a week. We'll check weather coming up next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986. And you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex Decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And Heather, is that weather still affecting the roads?
Yeah, mostly up through Parley's Canyon if you're I-80 going to and from Park City. The rain looks like it is moving to the east, so you will still see still have some wet road conditions, but most of the roads have dried out along the Wasatch Front. A few areas where it's still a little bit damp, especially if you're on State Street near I-80 in South Salt Lake, where we have a stalled vehicle. One of our listeners just let us know about that. I'm not seeing delays stack up yet, but it just happened. So that may change as emergency vehicles arrive on scene again. That's State Street at I-80 in South Salt Lake. And then the earlier crashes that we had on I-15, one was northbound near downtown, the other southbound in Layton. Both of those have cleared and no delays in those areas. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, it's going to be mostly cloudy. Some more rain this morning, but as you heard Heather say, it seems to be going east. Today, the high of only 50 degrees, set to clear out this afternoon. Cold tonight with a freeze overnight. Right now, it is 46 degrees with a few scattered showers along the Wasatch Front. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Thursday morning, as we were about to begin our show, Holly, federal authorities were wrapping up a press conference where FBI agents and others were announcing the indictments of something like 34 people involved in illegal betting ring, including some NBA players and some organized crime members. It's the kind of thing that you make a movie out of. Right. We were talking about it right here, and it made me appreciate, and our next guest can help us with this as well, just how pervasive and how big of a problem and how many people are involved in gambling in America in this day and age. It's something that a lot of us maybe don't see or participate in, but it's a huge problem.
That story was shocking to me. I just was like gobsmacked that you would have that many high-level people doing things like using x-ray tables so that you could see the underside of cards. It really is like a movie. So we have with us, I think, Utah's gambling guru. He knows more about this than anybody I know. It's Jay Evenson. He's the opinion editor of the Deseret News, and he has been sounding the alarm on gambling for a long, long time, including this sports gambling. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Listen, it's been 11 years since NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wrote an op-ed in the New York Times where he argued in favor of legalizing gambling on NBA games. And he was trying to argue that this was good for the integrity of the game and would that there was so much underground gambling going on in games. They needed to bring it up above board where they could control it. And we've seen what's happened in the meantime. And there was a scholarly piece in the Journal of the American Medical Association last year that found that sports wagers have grown from $4.9 billion with a B dollars in 2017 to $121.1 billion in 2023. And I found figures that said that it grew another 8% last year. And we still have underground gambling going on, as evidenced by what came out here last week.
Yeah, and you also have the fix in, which is what was really problematic, because
Right.
a lot of people will say, well, if I want to bet on a basketball game, and of course, if it's legal in the area you are, that's one thing. But you would assume that all of the players are doing everything they can to win the game. But once you have somebody on the inside who's tanking it or making their numbers less, it can cause everyone involved in even just watching the game. Even if you're not gambling, Jay, you have to sort of question the integrity of the game going forward.
It's one thing if you have a one-off. There was an NBA referee who was caught a few years ago, and the league made it sound like, oh, this is an anomaly. This isn't happening anywhere else. But now you're getting more and more players involved in this. It's a real problem for the NBA. One of the allegations made here is that Portland coach Chauncey Billups actually holding some players out of games last year to, quote, tank the game, and letting gamblers know that was going to happen. So I'm like a lot of people, and occasionally I like to go to a game, an NBA game. It costs me a bit of money, and I'm thinking, how many regular people paid good money to go to that game? What's the NBA going to do for them? Well, nothing, because you can't identify who was at that game. But it's a real credibility problem for the league, and unless they do something really visible and really strong, I think it could call into question the integrity of the league, and that's a big problem.
Is there any indication so far that they are going to take action besides just saying, "Oh, that shouldn't happen, so sorry"?
Not really. Now, Jonte Porter was caught not gambling, but affecting his play about a year or two ago, and they banned him for life from the league. And I think the league's position, they haven't been saying a whole lot. I think their position is that this is an ongoing investigation, and you're innocent until proven guilty, which is of course true. We're going to have to see as this progresses what the league has in mind to do.
Well, when you think about players who are already making millions of dollars, you have to wonder, Jay, what's in it for them. But you mentioned right at the outset that the gambling industry is not in the millions, it's in the billions of dollars now. I mean, there is a way to supplement your income quite a bit by doing something like this. Even if you're a player making $1 million a year.
It's almost impossible to find real reliable numbers on how many people in this country are addicted to gambling. I've tried, and I've talked to experts around the country, and you get all kinds of different answers. And the gambling industry will want you to think it's about 1 or 2%, but it seems to be a lot more than that. And a lot of these sports books, there was a great piece on 60 Minutes a year ago that looked at how these sports books sometimes are using AI to try to identify problem gamblers and then figure out what could make them gamble more to actually get as much money as they could from those people, including giving some of them what they call VIP status and assigning celebrities to be with them and help them, gamble even more. So addiction is a problem. I don't know if addiction was a problem with these NBA folks who are in trouble, but I have read recently reports about how gambling is everywhere in the NBA, in locker rooms and hotel rooms, that there is a lot of gambling going on amongst one another. It's a problem, big problem.
So what can you tell us about the problem maybe getting worse with colleges maybe getting in on the game?
As of Saturday, November 1st, the NCAA has a new rule that college athletes can now bet on professional games, which is a new thing. There are a lot of college students who are gambling, a whole bunch, and they're worried about the problem of college athletes gambling. But so they're still off limits to do it on college games, but they will be allowed to do it on pro games. My question is for some of the better players who are becoming addicted to doing this on pro games, when they're drafted out of college into the professional leagues and they're told now you have to stop gambling on anything with professional teams, are they going to be able to do that? Is it fair to tell them you can do this now, but when you become a pro, you can't do it anymore?
Right.
And if it is an addiction, it's pretty hard to stop doing that.
Jay, we've only got about a minute left, and maybe this isn't part of your colloquy, but there was a second part of the indictment that involved these poker games. And what occurred to me about that is that these victims were illegally playing poker at illegal venues, and they lost money. They're not the most sympathetic victims in the world, but even that there was a X-ray machinery. There was things that was like so I don't know. To me, they're not the most sympathetic victims, but still, you think you're gambling, you think what you're doing is right, and another way that it never ceases to amaze me what lengths people will go to get the fix it on gambling.
It's a trap.
And again, this is the underground gambling industry, which doesn't seem to have been affected at all by legalized gambling.
Right.
So that argument at the beginning that we'll do away with the underground stuff by legalizing it just doesn't seem to hold water.
Nope, it didn't in this case.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jay. Again, the gambling guru of Utah.
An
Jay
interesting
Evenson.
article. You've got to read it.
Yeah. So the murders of Tremont and Garland police officers Eric Estrada and Lene Sorensen rocked our state earlier this year. Now, one local artist is raising funds to send officers and their families to D.C. That's coming up next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Inside Sources.
It's been just over 2 months. In fact, it was on August 17, 2025, when two Tremonton police officers, Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada, were killed responding to a domestic violence disturbance call in Tremonton. They were shot and killed at the scene by a man with a high-powered rifle. Well, now, a Tremonton man is fundraising to send officers and their families to our nation's capital for Police Week in May, when the names of these two fallen officers will be added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial.
I just thought this story was so touching, right? I mean, it's one of the things, again, we talk about a lot on the show. Utah steps up in many ways, and this is one where somebody in the community is like, hey, I want the other officers and their families to be able to go back and be there when their names are placed on this memorial. So Darren Jex is a man behind the fundraiser, and he's selling specialty coasters commemorating the fallen officers. Let's listen to more from KSL TV's Mike Anderson.
From a blank black slate.
Very small thing that I hope that I can do to help my hometown.
You can make something pretty remarkable with the right guidance and a laser focus.
It symbolizes the department badge, but also memorializes these two officers.
As Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada are added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial this May, Darren Jex realizes how important it is.
I know how I would feel, if...
for their sisters and brothers to be there too.
If that happened to Brent.
Because his brother...
Every penny helps. It's really important for the closure.
Is Tremonton Garland Detective Brent Jex.
We are aiming to send the entire department and our spouses. So we figure we need to raise between now and May about $100,000.
A huge goal for his department. He and Chief Dustin Cordova are the only ones.
I'd like to say it gets easier.
To have been through this before.
But it doesn't.
It's why both say that community support is so important. That if we all work together, they, through that heavy burden,
they put their lives on the line every day that they go out,
can have the backing that they deserve.
And so the company's called Coldwater Productions. You can buy a set of 6 of these for $27, but you can buy multiple quantities. We'll have a link up at ksltv.com.
So the man behind this, Darren Jex, has a brother, Brent Jex, who's in fact a detective with that same police department. And you could tell from the sound of his voice when he said, well, this could have happened to my brother. And he got choked up because, as you recognize, as everyone recognized in that soundbite there that was from KSL TV's Mike Anderson, law enforcement officers go to work every day and put their lives on the line.
So there are multiple ways to be able to donate to this effort. So you have Darren Jex's company, as we heard, they're doing the coasters, and you can look at KSL.com and see images of those. They're really beautiful. But his company is Coldwater Productions. There's also another company called Gunslinger Forge that's selling challenge coins in honor of both Sorensen and Estrada for the same cause. People can send direct donations to Golden Spike, which is Fraternal Order of Police Lodge number 43 in Tremont, and that information is also on the KSL.com article. But again, I think it's really... it's touching, but it's also, I think, a sign of the way the community rallied immediately around this police department, the families affected and impacted, including the wife of the alleged shooter at this point, right? They rallied around her. They helped with her yard. They are helping. I'm sure it's ongoing efforts, right, from a community that was just really rocked by the violence earlier this year.
And we attended, at least during our program, we joined both of the funerals of these two fallen officers, and they were just beautiful ceremonies. We covered those live on KSL News Radio when they occurred in August. And so the National Law Enforcement Memorial has a service, Police Week, every May, and they add the names of fallen officers to the memorial. What they're trying to do is raise money here so that Utah can send a contingent, and I assume that would include family members of both of the fallen officers and members of our own law enforcement community. And if you recall, those funerals were very well attended by officers from all over the country. I mean, we had people from agencies. I don't remember some of the cities, but I remember their people were coming from all over the country. To
Idaho and Montana, and there were some from Florida and from California, Yeah, exactly. And it's again, they're trying to raise $100,000 to get people there. So it's officers there in the Tremont and Garland. It's at least their spouses, and then trying to get them out there at no charge to them, right, so that they can go be there as they honor officers Estrada and Sorensen.
Yeah, because they're probably going to do everything they can to go notwithstanding. But yeah, if you can
exactly,
if you can relieve some of that burden, and it's really a good-looking little. It's like a coaster, a big slate thing, but I don't know how he carved it. Must have some laser.
Yeah,
Tremont and Garland. It looks like a badge on a coaster. It's beautiful, and then of course there are the coins too that are being created here too. So. Some people are putting in their time and effort and money and doing what they can to make sure that we can send a contingent to this Fallen Officer Museum here in May.
And I'm looking at the Fallen Officer Memorial page, and it is this is really sad, but they built the memorial large enough so that they can accommodate fallen officers for the next 35 years. Right, because they have to stencil them on there and they carve them on. They've had to expand it, unfortunately, and by adding another 15 to 25 sections just so that we can look forward into the future about 30 years from now.
Does what you're looking at tell you where the National Law Enforcement Memorial is?
It does. It's
that's a place I would probably want to visit if I was there. I know a lot of officers just from my own years of practice who have died in the line of duty here in the state of Utah, several, and it would be nice to pay honor if I was ever there and go to that venue and see what's been there and see what's there for our officers here.
It's in Washington, D.C., but I'm not actually seeing the specifics of where it is. But you can find the names, and it reminds me of the Vietnam War Memorial, where you can find the names of people who died chronologically. So it's the same type of thing that you can do, and you can take a self-guided tour. But they're saying, hey, come during the National Police Week or even Police Weekend.
Yeah, and it's $100,000 is a significant amount of money, but it's something that we ought to be able to raise for these officers to be able to, and their family members, to be able to attend this. I assume the chief and some of the leaders of the Tremont and Garland Police Department would want to go as well as the two victim officers' families. We don't hear much about that case, by the way, the criminal end of it. I assume it's moving forward because not long after that we had Charlie Kirk, and our focus in terms of awful crimes in the state of Utah shifted from what was truly an awful crime to another awful crime. It just got a little different.
So what I've learned from you, though, too, is this process is slow.
Right.
I mean, it's I guess speedy in the sense of everybody deserves a speedy trial, but from the outside looking in, it feels like it's kind of slow. It moves slowly. The wheels of justice turn slowly.
And the Box Elder County attorney announced right at the outset, just as the Utah County attorney did in the Charlie Kirk homicide, that he was filing it as a death penalty case. And in Utah, you don't have to make that election until after a preliminary hearing. But both of those law enforcement leaders, county attorneys, said right at the shoot, we're filing these as death penalty cases.
So we have a very helpful texter, thank you so much, that tells us that the National Law Enforcement Memorial is in Judiciary Square. So it's the 400 block of East Street in Washington, D.C. So thank you so much for that. That was super helpful. Anyway, in May, again, they will have a full week. And during that time, there's a candlelight vigil. They will uncover the names of the officers who died in the line of duty in 2025. And Utahns are trying to raise money to send the Tremont and Garland Police Department and their spouses back there.
Yeah, so there is a Coldwater Productions. The Gunslinger Forge is selling challenge. There's actually two ways. Coldwater Productions selling the coasters, and Gunslinger Forge is selling challenge coins. So there's two places where you can donate. And you can also make donations to the Golden Spike Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 43, in care of Brent Dex. I assume that's Jex, but anyway, there are ways to donate to this as well. Utah is facing a rising cosmetic surgery rates. Both social media and Utah culture are getting the blame, according to a new study by the Utah Women and Leadership Project. Why experts say the unique mix of influences is fueling the beauty boom and what it means for teens, that story is next.
Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top story this hour. Tonight's temperatures are expected to be some of the coldest of the season. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
National Weather Service meteorologists say tonight's temperatures are expected to drop even lower in some areas of the valley, going from 28 to 32 degrees. The coldest spots are expected to be around the Jordan River. They say any sprinklers and hoses should be taken in by now and to protect any sensitive plants.
They say now is the time to prep your home and property ready for freezing temperatures and the winter. Salt Lake City and its corporate partners are now officially starting construction on the West Side's mixed-use development area, which they hope will one day house a Major League Baseball team. They're breaking ground today on the corporate campus for Rocky Mountain Power as part of the so-called Power District. They say this is a huge investment into the city's community on the West Side. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Lawmakers are no closer to voting on a bill that would reopen the government. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
The Senate will return here to Washington tonight. Republicans have tried and failed 12 times to pass a bill to end this shutdown in that chamber. Meantime, the House of Representatives is on recess for the 5th straight week in a row. Speaker Johnson signaling he'll keep that chamber out until the Senate votes to reopen the government.
Democrats want to have negotiations on extending health care tax cuts that are set to expire, which would raise premiums for millions of Americans. But Republicans say they won't have any conversations until the government reopens. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 250 points, the S&P up 67, and the NASDAQ up 383 points. Coming up, a rainy morning and some wet roads. KSL traffic and weather are next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
We still have a disabled vehicle on State Street right at the bottom of the exit ramp from I-80 heading westbound. So right now they're blocking all the northbound lanes of State Street. As soon as they get this car that's disabled, that's stalled, out of the way, they should reopen the lanes, but it is backing traffic up just a little bit. Now, the good news is we don't have any other major accidents reported, especially on the I-15 corridor, the east or west side belt routes. We did have one of our listeners let us know they witnessed a semi-truck that looked like it had crashed on the 201 freeway, but that looks like it's been moved out of the way. There's no delays, although some of the roadways are still very wet, especially on the 201 freeway and going through Parley's Canyon. Celebrate the holidays with the Utah Symphony starting Thanksgiving weekend. Sing along to the Hallelujah Chorus, hear the angelic voices of Celtic women, and much more. Visit utahsymphony.org/holidays. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
This morning's rain should shift to a cloudy afternoon with highs only expected to hit 50 degrees. Then temps will creep up to 52 on Tuesday, 58 Wednesday, and 60 on Thursday. Right now it's rainy and 46 degrees. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Okay, so here's a stat I didn't expect, and that is this, Holly. Utah currently ranks 10th in the number of board-certified cosmetic surgeries performed. And that's actually not as high as it's been in the past, but it sort of reinforces the idea of what Utahns are trying to look like. What is that look?
That's interesting. Yeah, and I've known those numbers because I've known the research that Dr. Madsen has been working on. So we have on the line with us Dr. Susan Madsen. She's the director of the Utah Women in Leadership Project and right now up at Utah State. Dr. Madsen, thanks for joining us, first of all.
Great to be here. Interesting study we've just put out.
Isn't it? It's so interesting. So first of all, what is the Utah look you talk about?
Well, the Utah look actually is this clean girl kind of look that's interesting. And what we found really, we did this study and put out this snapshot in 2017. So it's been about 8 years. And we really dug in to say, you probably both remember when Salt Lake, this was like 20 years ago, was touted as the vainest city in the whole United States, rivaling, LA. And we really wanted to see, is that similar? Is it different? What can we find in terms of data?
I'm looking at your report right now, and you're talking about the America's vainest city because of the high number of plastic surgeons per capita. But you mentioned a freeway billboard that said, "Ouch, God's remodeling his temple. Isn't it time to remodel yours?" Ooh.
Yeah. Can I just say, last week I was out in 7 different states in the Northeast. I saw not one billboard about cosmetic surgery. And so what we did find in the data were that Utahns lead the nation in Google searches still. This was true 8 years ago for, quote, breast augmentation and also, quote, boob jobs. And we're among the top 10 for other cosmetic surgeries. And so we do still rank 10th, as you said, in terms of member surgeons for a specific association. But we don't have evidence that we're the top or even in the top 3 for actual procedures. But we know we are definitely the top on Google searches for them.
So, Dr. Madsen, tell us about your study. What were you looking at, and how was it done? How was it carried on?
So we didn't conduct all the research ourselves. What we do for our research snapshots or are go out and look for any sources that we can in terms of around the nation, any kinds of data on regions and so forth, and bring that all together in one source. So that's what we did, and the report's really helpful in laying things out. But we were disappointed not to get even more numbers than we did. I do want to mention that the one thing that shocked me, actually, maybe this won't shock you, but around the United States in general, and when we look at these numbers, they're typically, we guess that they're slightly higher in Utah. 96% of girls ages 14 to 19 report cyberbullying about their appearance, and 92% have considered changes, whether it be through cosmetic procedures, dieting, exercise, and so forth. So that's huge. That has grown through the years, that our young women, our girls are really more than ever having that pressure to change their bodies.
Yeah, that is shocking. That's basically all of them. Can you speak to the role potentially of social media on these young women?
Oh, social media has been one of the culprits, right, in all of this. And it's interesting, when I used to study a number of years ago, well, just 3 or 4 years ago, I looked at the differences in social media between how boys use it and young men and girls and young women, and they're quite different. For young women, it's really about taking pictures of themselves, looking at other people and their pictures of themselves, right? And what we know is that there's cyberbullying, as I mentioned. But when they're looking at social media about, and they post, it's not helpful. In fact, it's very destructive. The research has told us that there's very specific, when you look at the number of hours that a child is and an adult is on social media, and it is directly linked to body image issues. And so that's something to be aware of as parents.
Dr. Madsen, when you talk about cosmetic surgeries, I know, and actually I don't know a lot about sort of the less invasive ones like Botox and fillers. Are those considered cosmetic surgeries? Because it seems like you can get them done at your hair salon. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's in some of the data, we call it cosmetic surgical procedures.
Okay.
And so the procedures include things like liposuction, breast implants, tummy tucks, breast lift, eyelid surgery. And so some of the Botox, we didn't pull in specific numbers with Botox specifically. But we do know that just searches for beauty products and so forth, including the long eyelashes and different minor things like that, are included in some things, but not necessarily in all of the research that we did.
So, Dr. Matt.
Go ahead. I just wanted to mention real quick is that we do mention in our report, and we don't have Utah data, but these cosmetic surgical procedures have increased in men too. I just wanted to highlight that.
I've seen billboard advertisements on I-15 for men, right? The dad bod ones. Let me just ask you, what are there solutions here? Like, what are we looking at, especially when we're talking about our young women?
Well, solutions, we're just fighting this battle that's getting worse. But there are programs like the Dove Self-Esteem Program, Girls on the Run. Oftentimes, I've studied through the years sports where you use your body to do things like that instead of just being observed as something beautiful. Of course, I'm a fan of Beauty Redefined. And their workshops, and they've done things for us. And they have published a book that I recommend to any parent called More Than a Body. And so as parents and other influencers, grandparents and so forth, we just need to learn more, and we need to be ready to help and have open conversations with our daughters and our sons as well about self-worth and these kinds of things. So I would suggest that book, seriously. Anybody that wants to go deeper, More Than a Body.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Madsen. As always, your research is very interesting. So when we come back, we're going to talk about when life gives you lemons, you can make hot dogs. Really, it's a story of a furloughed IRS worker who is not able to work right now in D.C., so he's living out his dream of owning a hot dog stand. We'll talk about that and what we can learn about redirection sometimes after the break. That's coming up next. We're streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Tonight on The Voice, it's a season of unforgettable performances. And now, get ready for the knockouts.
My heart racing fast, my blood pressure's up.
The coaches may be friends.
I'll just hang outside and just scream, I love you, Reba! Snoop, I miss you and I love you!
But they're not afraid of some fierce competition.
Oh, this is a good season.
Don't miss the battle rounds on The Voice, tonight on NBC.
Then stay tuned for KSL 5 News at 10. Thursday on KSL, Saltaire, a Utah landmark filled with history and ghosts.
Doors open and close.
I kept hearing footsteps all around.
From the man facing Utah's worst fears for more than a decade.
Want to talk to me?
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Andrew Adams takes you inside, if you dare.
Did you die here?
Spooky Saltaire, Thursday at 10 on KSL.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Man, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. And I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The new Inside Sources.
So, Greg, if you weren't a lawyer or a radio talk show host, what would you like to do that you haven't had time for?
Well, a week ago I would have said breaking into the Louvre and stealing $100 million worth of jewelry. This seems it seems so cool. But things like that don't work out, and so I'm happy what I'm doing. I loved being a lawyer, but I love doing this show right now, and I don't know that I'd want to be doing anything else.
All right, well, that's a good answer. But if you were IRS attorney Isaac Stein, you'd be serving hot dogs on the street of Washington, D.C.
Good for him.
It's really a fun story, and this one is in Reuters. So his day job normally is that he's an attorney for the IRS. He works mostly on his own, like he doesn't have a lot of social interaction. He writes retirement plan regulations in a Washington, D.C. office building. To me, that sounds mind-numbingly boring. But however,
but somebody's got to do it.
Since the government shut down earlier this month, he has taken to the streets with a food cart, selling hot dogs, moon pies, and RC Cola, and he named his cart Shysters.
Okay, what's a moon pie?
So a moon pie, that's funny that you would ask. A moon pie it's like got 2 layers with filling in the middle, and it's like covered in chocolate. And
okay, so it's a dessert item.
It's a dessert item.
Okay.
It's kind of like a cookie, and it didn't used to be very popular out in Utah, but it has made its way out here, and you can find them in the grocery stores and stuff now. But
well, you got to make a side hustle, and you're not making your money from the IRS, and he's probably not going to get paid starting tomorrow.
No, he already missed his first full paycheck. We already know that.
Let's see what he can do.
So I'm interested in hearing from our listeners. If you had time on your hands to do a small business or a side hustle that you haven't been able to do before, what would it be? And I think for me, I'll just answer. I think I would go back to the home renovations we were starting and now can't really get back to because we're so busy.
I work on the ski patrol up at Powder Mountain, and it's a part-time gig. But I think if I didn't have a job, I would do it full time.
Yeah.
I really would. It's a job I've always wanted to do. Of course, it's seasonal. There's no snow. You're not working. And in the summer, I would love to work at a bike shop.
So I'll tell you, I have a friend. So you can text us at 57500. By the way, I have a friend that I met, and he worked really, really hard during the summer doing like outdoor parking lot paving projects and stuff. So you have to work outside. It's really hot. But he earned enough during the summer that he would spend the rest of the year traveling around the world. So work really hard while it's really hot, get it done, and then go travel. That was what he did. But I have to go back to this attorney. So he's, first of all, I think he's funny. The hot dog cart has the slogan, "The only honest ripoff in D.C.," which I think is funny. And he dresses up in a suit and a tie so that he, maintains the IRS attorney persona, but he is now out there talking to people. He loves being able to talk to people, and he says a plurality, but not the majority of his customers order a steamed hot dog served with spicy brown mustard and sauerkraut, which he describes on his menu as, quote, "the only choice, correct hot dog and drink."
Well, good for him. And, and making it fun. I mean, people probably search him out. I bet he does fine. I bet he makes a few dollars every day that he wouldn't be making otherwise. And he's responding to people. He's out there in the community talking, keeping himself busy instead of being home and being miserable.
So I do have to add this. It took him 5 figures to set this cart up, this hot dog cart, and he had to read 150 pages of regulations to make sure that he was dotting all his I's and crossing his T's.
But he's a lawyer, so he's got that.
But he's a
It
lawyer.
Made it a little easier. Had to go by a cart. Like, I don't know that you find those real easy.
And all the regulations. Anyway, he's doing it. It's not just a lemonade stand. So we do have a texter who said that they would love to be a professional belly dancer performing and teaching. And, I do have to say this. I never have done it, but I've always been really interested in taking belly dancing classes.
Yeah, I think it's, well, maybe 40 years ago. I think it's a cool thing, not for you, but for I don't know.
Younger people.
Younger people, yeah. You have
Oh, come on. It's good exercise.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it is. I think it would be an incredible exercise. And you look at the people that do that, they look very healthy.
Yeah, right. So it actually goes really well with the midwifery profession because women in labor do a lot of rocking their hips and bellies. So it's a great skill. Look, one of the things we can talk about really is how do you take a negative or potentially negative situation and make it positive? So it's not just government shutdown. I remember, this has been a long time, but I remember when Geneva Steel was shut down and a lot of people were laid off. And I think the initial response was, oh no, what are we going to do? All these people have been laid off. And then as time played out, a lot of people took that opportunity to go reskill in a different profession, something that they'd always wanted to do but didn't really have the time or the ability. And if I remember correctly, that there were a number of news articles several years later saying how people had looked at that as a positive for them, that they'd been able to go back to school and become a teacher, for example, or find a different way to provide for their family. And so it ended up being a net positive.
Well, can I tell you a story about that hits close to home? And that is that I worked at Geneva Steel.
Oh, wow.
And I worked there in the late 70s. And
at
the time,
you're old.
The metals market was going down the tank. And because of that, I decided to go to law school just to give myself three more years to work and get a career because really the metals market was tanking badly in this country for whatever reason.
Interesting.
And I thought, because I was a metallurgist, that was my training before I went to law school.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to do something else. I'll go to law school for 3 years. I'll do mining and patent law. I'll do that. My whole career changed differently just because of that. Because
there's a pivot.
Something was happening with the economy at that time and with the market, and I thought I have to try something else.
Yeah. One person, we have another texter who said, I think I would be an investigative journalist and then turn my findings into a podcast. And I am telling you that would be super popular because those podcasts are very popular.
Yeah, I'd love to have time to create a podcast. I've listened to some and watched some and participated. Who was it?
And now this show you can find in podcast version.
Oh, I know it. I know, but I think one of those 8 or 7 or 8 session podcasts where you're digging deep into something. Yeah. I think that would be so fun to do.
Yeah, you have so many stories you could tell, I'm sure. Is there a statute of limitations on attorneys? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think you gotta take it to your grave.
To your grave?
Yes.
Maybe you can just anonymize. So, yeah, those are interesting stories where people. I have a friend who was just laid off actually, and she's trying to make a pivot now too. She finished an MBA program just recently and then ended up getting laid off. And so she's trying to figure out what her next pivot is going to be and has the opportunity for some thinking time, right? And trying to decide what she's going to do next.
I'll tell you something else I'd like to do, and I think a lot of people would, if given the time, is go back to school. And even just to take some classes and study something else, just even at my age, a pivot like that. If I had the opportunity or I was unemployed, I would go to, I live in Weber County, so, Weber State, I would go and sign up for some classes, or Utah State.
Do you know you don't have to be in a job transition to be able to go sign up for classes or even audit classes? Sometimes you've got that possibility. But we do have a texter that asks you this. How do you not know what a moon pie is?
I should have. I know, and I'm embarrassed to ask that. But I just thought to myself, what is a moon pie? I don't know that I've ever eaten one. But it's not frozen, right? It's not like an ice cream sandwich?
No.
It's more like a big,
and
gross
I've never tried to make my own. So I'll describe it for you. It's 2 round graham cracker cookies with marshmallow in the middle, and then it's dipped. And usually it's chocolate, but can also be banana flavoring on the top or even vanilla.
Sounds like a
So
s'more.
it is
Kinda.
similar. It
Okay.
is similar,
All right.
but packaged for commercial use, right?
All
It's
right.
just interesting. And when the box actually has like a bite out of it, and then a picture of a crescent moon, right? It's a moon pie, and I think it is more of a southern or eastern thing, but it's typically associated with cuisine of the South, and they are accompanied by RC Cola, which is exactly what this entrepreneur is doing in Washington, D.C.
That sounds
RC Cola and moon pies.
There you go. Well, it sounds
And
like
hot dogs.
a product I can go the rest of my life without having. It
Oh,
doesn't sound
stop. I'll
all
bring
that
you some
interesting.
tomorrow,
Hot
and then you
dogs
can
I
try
love.
one.
Right. Oh, by the way, there is a subset of youth not following national trends, and those are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, believe it or not. Their enthusiasm for religion has resulted in the announcement of 55 new missions. Stay with us on KSL News Radio, and remember, you can stream us on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
I'm Claire. 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. We're seeing a trend in Utah this month of teenagers being charged as adults for murder. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas says this is a normal practice.
We try to look at those on a case-by-case basis, but when it's a homicide, a murder, and the offender is 16 or 17, you can be almost assured that those will begin right out of the chute in adult court.
What's not normal about it is the number out of Weber County. 4 teenagers aged 15 to 17 are facing adult murder charges at this time.
2 of those have been in connection to the shooting death of other minors. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 2 people have been arrested in connection to the Louvre jewelry heist. More from ABC's Aaron Katursky in Paris.
The robbery at the world's most famous museum has brought up uncomfortable questions around its security. Sources tell ABC News investigators believe the robbers had help from the inside, but are still working to develop evidence.
Officials say that 2 of the 4 suspects are still at large. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 200 points. The S&P is up 64. And coming up, more showers tonight. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Can we talk about something difficult to discuss? Are you going through a difficult financial time? You have equity in your home, but nobody can help? American Home Loans has created the Bridge Loan Program to use your equity regardless of your credit at this time. The bridge loan can be used to pay debts, collections, IRS liens, divorce settlements, or home improvements. Call at 801-262-2221. That's 262-2221. This loan creates a bridge between now and a much brighter future. After COVID, one of their clients had over $85,000 in credit cards. Their scores were too low to borrow on their home. American Home Loans was able to save them $2,000 a month. And after 8 months, they qualified for a conventional loan and lowered their payments. The consultation is free and confidential. Please call them and see what they can do for you. The number is 801-262-2221. It's 262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com. AmericanHomeLoans.com. NMLS 245422, Equal Housing Lender.
If you've been quoted for a new furnace or AC and it felt more like a sales pitch than a solution, you're not alone. Many home service companies in Utah have been bought out by big corporations focused on profits, not people. At Your Service Pros is different. Locally owned, family operated, 5-star rated, and trusted by Utah families for over 20 years. Let them help you with their $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspections, and $75 off electrical repairs. Because they know things are tight and want to help you prep your home affordably. Get a free second opinion because you deserve honest answers. If your system can be repaired, they'll fix it. If it needs replacing, they'll show you affordable options. Their goal is to earn your trust, not upsell you. Let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Call 801-YOUR-PRO or online at atyourservicepros.com. At Your Service Pros, 801-YOUR-PRO.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway traffic in good shape, no accidents or delays. However, if you're going to be traveling in South Jordan, be aware road crews are out and they are blocking some traffic lanes on 104th South near 40th West until about 1 o'clock today. The turn lane N1 westbound lane is closed until that time. You need to either expect delays or find an alternate route. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The clouds will clear a bit this afternoon. We'll see showers return late tonight. A high of 50 today, and the temperatures begin to rise. We're back in the 60s on Thursday. Right now, 46 and rainy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So we know that generally speaking, there has been a decline in people associating with organized religion, but young members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are going in the opposite direction. And on Friday, the church announced the creation of 55 new missions, which is remarkable.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge number.
It's huge. And we have in studio with us Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News, who also was the previous editor of the Church News. And look, I want to talk to you about these numbers. Holy cow.
Isn't this an exciting time for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Tell us a little bit about these missions. This is, first of all, a record. Is that correct?
Yes. It actually is an indication of a continuing upward trend with this emphasis that the Church of Jesus Christ is placing on missionary work, and probably doing it in response to the number of young people who are committed to serving. Just 2 years ago, the church created 36 new missions. So this is just one more indication that there is many, many more young people serving.
So, Sarah, when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints decides to create a new mission, is it because geographically there's an area they need to fill, or because population-wide there's more people that need to be reached?
Well,
or is it some combination?
Yeah, I'm not sure that they've ever said the criteria they use for determining a new mission publicly, but we do know that the church has areas of strength, and they focus missionary work in these centers of strength and then move out from there in different countries. It's interesting to me that 16 of the new missions are in Africa, so we're seeing a continued emphasis on missionary work there. You have anywhere from between 100 to 250 young people serving in any mission, which is overseen by a mission leadership couple. And those missions are geographic areas. And so this is just an exciting time. A few years ago, in April of 2022, President Russell M. Nelson of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints emphasized missionary work for young people. And in response to his clarion call, the number of missions went up. At the time, there were 65,000 young people serving missions at the end of 2022. And within a year, there was 72,000 by the end of 2023. And currently, there are more than 84,000 young people serving missions. So this would be a natural result of meeting those needs of those increasing number of young missionaries.
That really is just, those numbers are so big. So in my family, we have sent 8 children out on missions. 2 of them been service missions where actually they lived at home. Are we seeing an increase in service missionaries as well?
Yes, service missionaries are an increasing opportunity for young people. Many people who can't serve a full-time proselyting mission have an opportunity to live at home and give service full-time, and participate with the local missionaries as part of that mission.
So when you talk about 55 or so new missions, does that mean there'll be 55 more couples called to serve as mission presidents?
Yes, this is absolutely a continued emphasis by President Dallin H. Oaks on missionary work, and it means that 55 couples are going to have to step away from careers and other opportunities for 3 years and devote full-time effort to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and testifying of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So I will mention that the previous host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson, is doing that right now with his wife, and they're serving as mission leaders in Indiana. So what to you does this mean for the future of the church?
Well, first of all, isn't it great? Indiana is one of the places that's getting a new mission, and so I am sure that Boyd is celebrating with so many others right now. But it actually is an indication that young people in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are bucking some national trends. We have seen this nationwide, 1/3 of members of Gen Z are actually religiously unaffiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is a lot of people who are saying, I am not affiliated with any faith. And yet, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're seeing a different trend. And that's not just represented in the number of young people who are serving full-time missions. And for those in your audience who don't know, that means they step away from everything, go someplace they don't choose at their own expense for 18 months to 2 years. But we're also seeing more than 1 million young members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints enrolled in religious education or attending a church-owned university. And so the people who are drawn to religion in this faith is different than what they're seeing for others in Gen Z.
Susan, so it's only been a couple of weeks since...
Sarah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Sarah.
He can call me whatever he wants.
Sorry. It's only been a couple of weeks since we have a new prophet with the church, Dallin Oaks. Is there anything that we can say about his first several weeks that give us an idea of his, I don't know, his mission or where he sees the church going?
Well, I think this is absolutely an indication of where the church is going to go under his leadership, with a greater emphasis on young people, with a greater emphasis on taking the blessings of the gospel of Jesus Christ as he sees them to the world. And this also follows a period in the Church of Jesus Christ that marks the highest number of convert baptisms in the history of the church. And so I think we're going to see a renewed emphasis on supporting and helping young people, and on this idea that the church can go to all corners of the earth.
So what I was going to ask you about the rate of conversion. I was surprised to hear that recently, right, that it is just kind of exploding. Do you think that this will continue?
Oh, yes. I think this is an interesting time where many people are worried and anxious and seeking something different. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is saying, we have a message, we're going to send messengers around the world, and we hope that people will want to hear about that message.
And Sarah, you indicated that a mission typically has between 200 and 250 missionaries. Mm-hmm. So if we're creating 55 more, my math is that's like 12,000.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we're going to see an increasing number of young people serving missions. I have 2 daughters who served as full-time missionaries myself, and they went out at an interesting time. They were both 19 years old. One served in Honduras, one served in Brazil, and they came home different. They had thought about somebody else besides themselves. They both learned new languages, and they both came to appreciate culture in a different way. And so this is indicative of what we're seeing from young people all over the world that are members of this faith.
You know, I will just say, when I was a young woman, I would have gone had the age been 19 for young women. It was 21, now it's 19. But that would have made a huge difference for me personally. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking with Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News, and about the creation of 55 new missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And when we come back, we'll talk about what's coming up on Friday, which is Halloween, and people are putting a mind-boggling amount of money towards spooks and scares this Halloween. Let's get into the costs and share some fun facts with Holly when we come back.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since 1964, Curtin McConkie has delivered exceptional legal services across Utah and now serves clients in all 50 states and over 15 countries worldwide, offering trusted expertise in business, litigation, intellectual property, and international law. President Rob Walker joins us with more.
Salt Lake City is on the rise. With rapid economic growth, national recognition, and the 2034 Winter Olympics on the horizon, we're once again stepping onto the world stage. And businesses have a key role to play. At Curtin McConkie, we understand that being Utah's premier law firm means more than providing excellent legal services. It means being deeply invested in the communities we serve. From pro bono work to local partnerships, we're committed to strengthening the fabric of our state. As our region grows, so does the need for leadership, collaboration, and civic engagement. We're proud to be a part of that movement and proud to help individuals and businesses navigate change in our thriving community. As we look to the future, the world will be watching. Let's show them a community defined by integrity, service, and excellence. Learn more about how we can serve you or your business at CurtinMcConkie.com.
As Utah continues to grow and evolve, Curtin McConkie is there as a steady resource, offering guidance, insight, and support to help you make informed decisions every step of the way. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Inside Sources.
He did the Monster Mash.
I think I know the answer to this, Holly, but are you one of those people that kind of goes out of their way for Halloween decorations at your house? I saw a picture of you this weekend in full garb. Do you do the same with your house?
I actually do not.
Oh,
So
okay.
We have some things up, but I really am focused on the Christmas season, and then I do go all out.
Well, times are tough, and people are talking about spending money less in certain areas, but it seems like in terms of home decor,
Especially for
the
Halloween.
amount of money people are willing to spend to make their houses fancy, that number actually goes up every year.
It's interesting. So the National Retail Federation says they expect U.S. consumers to spend about $13 billion on Halloween this year, which is $2 billion more than they spent last year.
That is mind-boggling. But
So-
I mean, that's fun. I mean, you see the houses in your neighborhood that are willing to do, and there's some cool things people are doing now with the sort of really interesting graphics on your garage door and things that you can display with your lighting and
There's
stuff.
so many skeletons. So I don't know if you drive around. I don't know if your neighborhood decorates. So we have some, I would say, in our neighborhood, but there are some that are kind of close by that are really fun. There's a house that's a couple of miles away from mine where the whole theme, and they've done it for a number of years, is like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing. So they've got like a pirate ship, but all of their characters are like skeletons. And so they're climbing up the mast and they're climbing up the house and they're in the bushes. And so there are people who go all out. It is a phenomenon, I'm telling you.
Well, you did something this weekend because I saw you in
did.
costume. What was it?
Yeah, I did a family Halloween party. So we had only 21 of us.
Yeah.
So
The
my
small crowd
my
weekend.
husband and I dressed up. We did Day of the Dead, and so we did that, and we had kids and grandkids come over, and we did a Halloween party. But I told you when I walked in, okay, Halloween's over. I'm ready for Christmas now.
But it's not over. It's a couple
I
days
know,
away.
I know.
What do you do on Halloween night?
You know what's interesting? So our neighborhood, we've been there now for 22 years, and almost all the kids have gotten older, so the trick-or-treaters just get fewer and fewer every year. So we'll watch a movie or something. We'll probably watch like Disney's movie Coco, which is about the Day of the Dead, and then our 11-year-old said she doesn't want to go trick-or-treating. It's cold, and so she'll just hand out candy if any trick-or-treaters come by.
And we're in one of those sort of stuffy neighborhoods. My wife dresses up every year to address the kids and to show off to them. But we don't get very many people showing up at our house.
Yeah.
Either. I don't know why.
Yeah, we do have a texter that said they decided they have so many Halloween decorations now they don't need any more. And I don't know, some of the people, they have like the inflatables. So you have like these great big ghost, or you have Frankenstein or something. I'm not a huge fan of the inflatables, but you also have 12-foot skeletons in people's yards.
Right.
And
I think they're cool. The inflatables are just weird because you think of them at used car lots coming
They
up and down and
do,
waving. And
yeah,
you have to have a blower
and
in
some
'em.
people where you say, you might have too many. Maybe you've done too much. But it's interesting how many people love this holiday. So I have a daughter who loves to decorate everything. So she does inside and out, and she started decorating for Halloween before we got to Labor Day. And as soon as Halloween, she said, as soon as the last trick-or-treater ding-dongs the doorbell on Friday, she's going for Christmas.
What about Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving for me is all wrapped up in the same thing. I am grateful that we have a holiday season that lasts for 2 months. Does that work?
Yeah. No, it does. My wife kind of does the Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. But it's
yeah,
really
it all for me. It all goes together. I think it's just an opportunity to be grateful and to be happy. Let's talk about Halloween candy a little bit this year. My kids always love to find the houses where they would give out full-size candy bars. We've done that a time or two, but because we don't have a lot of trick-or-treaters now, we just do whatever, right? We get like the mixed bags, and then we just hand stuff out. So what's interesting is that chocolate is dropping in popularity this year at least.
How's that?
Well, they usually, so last year, for example, chocolate or chocolate inclusive
right.
Candy was 52% of the Halloween candy, but this year it's only 44%, which leaves gummy candy, freeze-dried treats, other sweets that are not candy or not chocolate related.
Have you ever given something other than candy?
No.
Oh.
Do you remember back when, I don't know, maybe when I was trick-or-treating, the big thing was don't take apples because somebody might put a razor blade in your apple.
Yeah.
But we don't, like our kids, they don't get fruit. They don't get homemade popcorn balls. They get pre-packaged stuff from the store. And I will say one year my kids went to a house where they were giving out cans of soda. So that wasn't candy, but kind of in the ballpark.
I'll tell you just a weird one, and then we can move on. My uncle worked at a paper mill, and he gave pads of paper, little pads.
Was that popular?
It was. People would go there. I thought it was cool.
Oh, we have a texter. Oh, my goodness, that's cute. They sent him pictures that said their neighbor built Toothless, which is the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, out on their front lawn. Very cute. One texter says they give out mini pretzels. And then one person says, going all out with decorations is great until you realize how much candy you have to buy. And then they say they hand out about 200 full-size candies every year, not cheap. Somebody says they hand out Top Ramen. Are you serious?
No.
My kids would actually like that.
Yeah.
They would think that was cool. I remember one year I trick-or-treated and I was fundraising for UNICEF because that was the thing you did back in the day. I don't know. That seems a little lame now that I think back on that. But anyway, I have some fun facts of the day as well. So today is actually National Black Cat Day. Makes sense. We're in the week of Halloween, but today is National Black Cat Day.
You ever had one?
Oh, yeah. I have some right now, actually.
Black cats?
Yeah, they're in my backyard. They're outside cats, but almost completely black, but with just like a little bit of white on one paw. One of them is. So, yeah. They must be channeling their inner
They must be
which I don't know.
enjoying it today, yeah.
Okay, I have some trivia for you today, too. So on this day in 1659, Quakers were executed for their religious beliefs in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So that was not a lot of religious tolerance, I'll just say.
Yeah.
In 1838, on this day, so October 27th, 1838, Missouri Governor Lilburn Boggs issued his Mormon extermination order. And if you are not familiar with that, there were...
what state?
It was Missouri. And the Mormons had moved in, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but they had moved in and they were growing their colony basically by a lot faster than what Missourians thought that they should. And Missouri was considered the wild frontier, right? So Governor Boggs issued a declaration. It was an executive order. And he said, basically, we want to chase the Mormons from our state. And if we can't do that, then just exterminate them, right?
Good heavens.
And that led
no
to,
idea.
yeah, but that led to the creation of Nauvoo in Illinois, a neighboring state. And then, of course, they were chased out of there and ended up in the Salt Lake Valley. But one of the interesting notes about this extermination order, it was on the books until 1976. It was not repealed until 1976.
You can't even imagine somebody doing that in this day and age.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of can imagine it, but
Yeah.
some of the speeches
Some of the
that we
things
have
that are happening
sometimes.
right now, that's true.
Yeah. So on this day in 1972, Glen Canyon National Recreation Area was established. So That was
the Glen Canyon Dam.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Lake Powell
In 1972. So those are the trivia. Well, I have one more tiny piece of trivia. 1904, the New York City subway opens. And that number always surprises me because I had really no idea that you would have underground subways more than 100 years ago.
You know, and every time I see or ride on a subway, I think of the incredible engineering that went into that. And you talk about 1904.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything like we
Right.
have today, and yet they're digging underground subways, keeping the water out, keeping them safe, keeping the top from falling down, and also making it fast and safe enough to put a multi-ton ship in. It's just incredible.
Two more quick things before we toss it to Maria. One texter says they don't get a lot of kids at their house, so they give out money, cash.
Whoa.
And then one says, for years, my wife and I would stay out and have a little barbecue and give out hot dogs and hot chocolate. Woohoo!
That'd be fun. Well, speaking of fun, Utah is stepping up to the plate for Major League Baseball today. We heard from Erin Mendenhall earlier, and she and other leaders and Rocky Mountain Power broke ground on what's called the Power District, a new west side development that could be key to bringing Major League Baseball to Utah. Maria Shileos has all the details coming up on midday. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is